What's up, Internet? My name's Alvaro. I'm a sales engineer for Little Fish Audio. I'm also a producer and engineer here in Miami, Florida. I want to do a quick overview video of the Akai Advance 49. This is a really cool keyboard that came out recently by Akai. And what makes it so interesting is that the fact that it offers control of all your VSTs. It comes with a very nice and bright LCD screen, and it allows you to browse between the presets of different VST manufacturers all in one place, which is really cool because it means that A, you don't have to touch the computer, B, you don't have to jump between different, hardware products that link with certain manufacturers and others not, for example. But it really helps speed up the workflow, and it's at a great price point. So let's take a look at the software that we use. This uses software called VIP. It's from Akai, and this is basically the shell that reads all the other VSTs that you have on there. So this would have to be installed, and then once that's installed and it scans through all the VSTs, then you can get hands-on with it. So let's see how that works. Let's take a look at the VIP software real quick, and then we'll take a look at the keyboard itself and just get it going, start making sounds without even having to touch the computer. So here we go. So for the sake of this tutorial, for this overview, we're going to use Ableton. So here in my plugins, I found VIP. I'm going to drag it down there. And this right here is our user interface. We have our browser, the plugin that we might have at any given point. Here on the left, we have, in this case, a list of presets, and a lot of stuff to keep us busy. Here's our mixer, and what we want to do when we first install it is go to Settings, Plugin Manager, and hit Scan right here. So I've already done that. As you can see, I have a number of VSTs that popped up, and you can see the different manufacturers, right? Absinthe by Native Instruments, The Art by Arturia, Loom here by anything by Air Music Tech is going to be Akai's proprietary synths. We got Omnisphere by Spectrasonics, and so on and so forth. Cool. So it's read my VSTs, right? So now that I have VIP running, so now I want to start making music without having to come back to the computer. So let's take a look at the keyboard itself and find out how that would work. All right. Alrighty. So here is our Akai Advance 49. Let's just take a quick look at it. We have 49 keys, we have 8 different pads and different banks, and then we also have these really chunky knobs, if the camera will just, there we go, really chunky knobs, which feel great. They're super smooth. Whenever I come across a new product, I always like to give it the little nudge test, see how much give they have, and these do not move at all. They feel very pro, very sturdy, and just super smooth. And I love the fact that they're huge. Gives you a lot of quick access. Very cool for live. As we move further to the left of the unit, we have our screen, which is a full color screen. There we go. And it gives us access to a lot of parameters. So off the bat, when we get our unit, we'll see this. Okay, and this allows us to choose the format or the preset for the Akai Advance. So in this case, we're using Ableton. I'm going to choose Ableton. If I were to do Cubase or Logic, we can see it switches accordingly. Right? So Ableton it is. We can see how our pads change according to which DAW we're on. Cool. So we've got the VIP software running. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Browser to start going through our synths. Just like on the VIP software, we can see here our plugins by different manufacturers, which I can immediately scroll through. Right? So just to get stuff started, let's go with Massive by Native Instruments. So I've selected my VST, and now I can go, search through. Let's do a saturated groover. There it goes. Give it a second to load up. Nice. All right, so let's turn that down a bit. Cool. So we've loaded our patch. What else can we do? So as we move down these buttons here, all right, if we could just get it to focus. There we go. As we move down these buttons, here we can see main, browser, control. So control is really cool. We hit that, we get a bunch of knobs that correspond to the ones on the keyboard. All right, so as I start moving these, you'll see that it coincides with these. So if I frequency shift, right, and so on and so forth. So this is great for live performance, right, and just instant control of your parameters. Beyond that, we only have 8 knobs on the unit, and we're only seeing 8 parameters here. However, with these little arrows on that top corner, top right corner, you'll see that it'll shift from bank A to bank B, bank C, and bank D. So off the bat, instantaneously, a lot of control over your VST. And this is a Native Instruments VST, right? So you don't really have to think about much. You can load a preset, start manipulating, and go to town. So that's not all. I guess in passing, I should mention that it does have a built-in arpeggiator. We have a tap tempo, we got a note repeat, and then up here we have the different divisions for the note repeat. So any beatmaker producer is going to want to have access to that. And then the next cool thing that I wanted to show was multimode. So moving down once again, the buttons next to the left of the screen, we have the multi button. So if I hit multi button, what that allows us to do is create a multi-layered instrument by using different VSTs. And this to me is a super powerful feature because you can do different manufacturers' VSTs and create one sound. So when I hit multi, if you can see here, we have our massive patch. If it'll just load, if it'll just focus there, come on, come on. There you go, there's our massive patch. So now if I move on to the next one, then I go to browser, I can now load, and you'll see that on the top right it says S2, that stands for slot 2. So now instead of massive, I want to add, let's see here, let's see, I want to do FM8, and I want to do whatever the 16th machine is. Okay, give that a second to load. I haven't looked at my computer screen since we started, right? So now I go back to multi, and I see that I have 2 loaded here. So now when I play, I have both instruments playing at the same time. And you have, let's see how many slots here. Up to 8 slots of instruments that you can load, which is pretty impressive. And again, all of this is without having looked at the computer screen. So now when I go back to control, I can also choose which slot I'm affecting, right? Slot 1, slot 2, and it's just crazy how on the fly all of this is. Let me make sure I got that. So slot 1, controlling that with the big knobs, right? You can see that. Slot 2, controlling those, right? And everything is just super functional and on the fly. So this is just a quick overview. You know, there's definitely a lot more features involved in the Akai Advanced series. However, just with this quick overview, you can see how much potential and how much power this software is. So the Akai Advanced 49, I believe, is going for $499, which is a very, very reasonable price for this instrument, which will save you a lot of time and speed up your workflow. So my name is Alvaro from littlefishaudio.com. If you guys have any questions, you can check us out at littlefishaudio.com. Send us an email, say hi on our Facebook page, give us a ring. You know, we're always open to chat and answer any questions and concerns that you guys might have. Till next time.